She may not have won Miss Universe, but she did make history. Angela Ponce is the first ever transgender contestant in the 66-year-old pageant.
Yo creo que estar aquí, siendo imagen.
I think to be here, being the image, the voice, and talking about women's issues, especially those of transgender women and minors, I think is allowing me to enter many houses, many homes through the TV and the press, and to create debates within families, conversations about something that has never been talked about, and that is very positive.
Page 3 now, force-feeding a radical, morally explosive agenda to America's youth. Question, how can a man compete in Miss Universe? Answer, when societies begin to implode. In order for a person to be a Miss, as in universe, it takes a certain biological qualification. A man who wants to be a woman, who dresses like one, and who gets surgery to look like one, no matter what, he's still a man. Yet the gender war on humanity is now being fought on all fronts, including Miss Universe. And all of it amounts to an attack on our civil society. Joining me now from Southern California, forensic psychiatrist Dr. Carole Lieberman. Doctor, I saw another headline that caught my eye, and then it swirled my brain, and then it kicked around inside my head for a little while. And it's this headline: trans boys and men and non-binary people, whatever they are, may have periods. Menstruation must be inclusive of all genders. I'm sorry, I can't read that without busting up. I mean, this is insanity. It is insanity, but I shouldn't be laughing, because this is, in my opinion, you tell me, is doing terrible damage to our young minds.
Yes, absolutely. This is all about teaching kids in elementary school yet, when they don't even really understand what sex is, just general, you know, vanilla kind of sex. And to try to get the, I mean, you know, biologically, it is not true that, right, that men can have periods unless, you know, there's this rare kind of, unless they have some kind of congenital abnormality. But this is all part of a propaganda war attacking kids, trying to recruit them into the transgender society, transgender community.
It's damaging our society. And I think that this is part and parcel to people who want to destroy and make over our constitutional republic and turn it into something else. This is why it's so important that we explore and we talk about these with a straight face. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. You know, we know there are studies that have shown that when kids get influenced, and they are by the media, the social media, you know, these kinds of things, being taught these things in school, that it's so confusing to them, that if they actually go forward and consider themselves transgender, or even go further and have hormones and surgery and so on to become transsexual, that they have more suicide attempts. They are not happy.
Right.
So this is a very serious problem. Plus, we need to understand where these things come from. I mean, I know nobody wants to say that people who think this way have anything psychologically wrong with them, but it has identity, gender identity, has to do with your mother and your father growing up, who you identify with, who you want to identify with. It's, you know, yes, there are some biological things that may come into play for some people, but for the most part, it's really a psychological situation. And these kids whose parents are deciding, you know, that they want to be the other gender, they're deciding for them at like 2 and 3 and 4. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
They then later on, or not even before puberty, give them hormones, give them all kinds of things to help them.
It's child abuse. It's child abuse.
Yes, it's child abuse. It is. Absolutely.
But then we also have this gender X, if it's not bad enough. 2 weeks ago, Colorado added a third gender. Again, it's hard for me not to laugh at this because it's a joke. I mean, if we had this conversation 30, 40 years ago, people would think we would have been insane. But here we are actually talking about it as part of our social landscape. So it joins California, Oregon, Minnesota, Maine, Washington, D.C. with a gender X on a driver's license. So this is, in my opinion, doing great damage to our young people. This is different than telling them about Santa Claus, because in the end, we learn that Santa Claus is not real. These people are trying to brainwash our young people. But here's what gets me the worst, Carole, and that is these moms and dads that will embrace this kind of thing, not promote it, not turning their kids into gender X or whatever, but to embrace it and excuse it. These people need to reject it. Moms and dads need to openly, publicly reject this to get this society back on its rails.
Yes, absolutely, because what this does is validate the concept of non-binary. You know, each of these things is a step in convincing little kids that this is cool. I mean, that's the thing too. Parents who decide to, you know, have their kids go down this route, they think that they're being trendy or cool by doing this.
Right.
And in the end, it is child abuse. They're really ruining their children's lives. Plus, you know, this came about in Colorado because, and I guess in these other states too, because of decisions that judges have made. Particularly in Colorado, there were 2 cases where the judges said that, you know, somebody could have an X for their passport, and they were afraid of being sued. The DMV in Colorado was afraid of being sued. Now, do you know that they're also in Colorado thinking of having an X on the birth certificate? Now, really?
Yeah,
when the child is born, they're going to decide that they want to be transgender, or the parents will, or, you know, for some, I guess for some people, it's for afterwards that you go back and you change. I mean, that's ridiculous. You can't change biology, what you were born with.
This is an attack on our Judeo-Christian foundation of this republic. And by the way, one more thing. I think it's of national security importance that we stop this, because what kind of message is this sending to our enemies? And we know that some of our enemies are watching this thing, and it's giving them reason to attack us because we do look like infidels to them. Carole, thank you.
Yes, thank you.